Oh yeah. Welcome once again, y'all, to the Spin That Back Show. Today is December 2nd, 2023. I am your host, the infamous El Pooh. Got my co-host here, Mr. Nice Guy. So far, it's just us. And we got a pretty good show for you today. In fact, let me cut this music off. Let that music for me play. Okay, there you go. All right. So today, we're going to be talking about hip-hop record labels, their names, and does their name have anything to do with their downfalls? Now, we're going to get into it and everything, but I want to go back and kind of bring it back to my thoughts about this. Let's talk about black music and black labels and everything. When you think about black record labels, just music in general, because it's all hip-hop, I still consider all this a part of hip-hop. The big label that started it off and got real big, of course, everybody knows, is the Motown, of course. Started in like 59 by Berry Gordy Jr. Went on to have all kinds of great artists, including the great Supremes, the Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, the Jackson 5, Gladys Knight, Lionel Richie, the Commodores, Martha Reeves, the Four Tops. The list goes on and on and on. And then around that same time, a little bit after, came Stax Records. And they had an amazing run too. I mean, you want to talk about some of these artists? I know some of the artists. Let me think of some of the people I know. Otis Redding, Sam and Dave, Rufus and Carla Thomas, Booker T and the MGs, Isaac Hayes, of course, and of course the staple singers.
And Gene Knight, who just passed away.
Gene Knight, rest in peace, recently. Then you had, from the 60s, then going to the 70s, Philadelphia International seemed to be the one that was really riding that wave in the 70s. And they had many, many great artists too. And let's see, the OJs was there, Hell Melvin, the Blue Notes, Teddy Pendergrass, which was part of Hell Melvin, MFSB, Billy Paul, Patti LaBelle, Lou Rawls. The list goes on and on. The 3 Degrees. You can just keep on going. After Philly, we had Solar Records in the 80s. They was kind of running, the 80s for the most part. And of course, they had Shalimar, The Whispers, Midnight Star, Lakeside, The Deal, Climax, and so on and so forth. And I'm saying all that to say this. Let me get them up off the screen there. After the 80s, well, record labels started changing their names. I mean, you had hip hop, you had Sugar Hill Records, you had Def Jam, of course, you had Tommy Boy, you had all kinds of record labels. But then something started changing in the very late 80s. You had something called Ruthless Records, Eazy-E, NWA, you know the whole story. But just that name, I mean, it might not seem harmless. It might seem harmless now, but at that time, Ruthless was like, whoa, Ruthless Records? That was kind of like a stretch for us. I mean, how did you feel about that when you heard Ruthless?
I mean, and not only that, it was the subject matter, because I mean, they came out with no apologies. It was gangster music. They didn't rely on the radio. They were going to put it out. They did nice little radio versions, but the bottom line is, they were doing their shows. They were sitting there performing right down the street, Skateland. So, that was up with them. So, that was some real stuff. But again, you're talking about where all these little labels that had, Jive, Arista, all these other stuff. This is when you come out, Ruthless Records, and what they brought with them was, that sort of like ruthlessness. You had the situation that was going on with Ice Cube and them, Above the Law, and there was a lot of friction and all type of stuff that played out of that ultimately led into the next label I'm sure you're going to be talking about.
So we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're going to take it, step by step. Let's talk about Ruthless, because you're right. It was what they were talking about. They were the ones that actually got that label gangster rap. That's where it all started. You know, when the media put it on them, you know, because they was out there, you know, they was talking about what they were talking about and everything. And it was really ruthless ass music. Even though Ice Cube said with a right, left, you're toothless. And they say, God damn, they ruthless. All that stuff was like crazy for us. But I'm saying all this to say, just in the name, Ruthless Records is not around anymore, not doing anything, not releasing no music. And they had a the downfall was Eazy-E dying, basically, you know, because his wife took over. And who knows how legitimate that was. His wife, you know, he got married while he was dying on his deathbed. But either way, the music they were putting out and the messages they were putting out was, you know, it changed music and everything. And I'm thinking just the same way that Tupac used to talk about death all the time, and Biggie was talking about death and how they ended up dying. It's kind of like the same thing with these record labels that we're going to talk about 4 of them in particular. You know, the 4 that we're going to talk about. This is number 1, Ruthless. It's just sometimes you can actually, you know, speak your own fate. That's what I believe. You know, like Tupac talking about, I feel death around the corner. Yeah, it was around the corner. A couple of years later, you was dead. And
well, he was associating with behavior that increased the probability of that type of stuff. So when you're talking about speaking stuff into existence, it's not just speaking it; it's your behavior and the path that you're walking, the people that you associate with. I mean, you know, he had, you know, Tupac had a nice look. Well, I don't know. We will come back to Tupac, but I'm just saying that this is an example of when you talk about NWA. You talk about Eazy-E and that lifestyle. I mean, he died of AIDS, and part of the lifestyle was, you know, what probably exposed him to it, you know, that wild lifestyle. We saw the pool party, you know, the video and all of this stuff. So I mean, you know, he was getting it in, and we didn't realize how dangerous things were about to get, you know, with the beginning of the AIDS epidemic. But I mean, this behavior created circumstances and fallout, you know, consequences and repercussions. So that was you know, they made it an actuality.
Well, you're speaking on Tupac in particular, right?
Well, I was right now I'm speaking about Eazy-E because Eazy-E died of AIDS, and I know that, you know, he was probably, you know, hooking up with a lot of females. I mean, we saw I don't know if you saw that NWA pool party video.
Of course,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it was a situation where, you know, they were doing their thing, which most, you know, no knock on Eazy particular, because, you know, most artists do that. You know, they have that exposure, that the groupies and what happens. But, you know, that was the beginning of the AIDS epidemic where we really got exposed to how dangerous it could be. You know, a lot of these other things you could treat them after infection, but AIDS was killing people, and he died.
You know, well, at the same time, Luke was doing that same thing. I mean, and shout out to Luke Skywalker, you know, or Uncle Luke. Let's just say it like that. Luke was, man, he was in fact, I gotta spin that back. Hey, Uncle Luke, man, you are the man. You was the man when it came to those females, man. You got all that BET Uncut and all that stuff going back in the 80s. You was, man. So
that very important for promoting the thickness of sisters. You know what I'm saying? Where the main media, the white media is producing these skinny models, you know, he was one of the champions of the curvy thick sisters. So, you know, he was.
So you talking about the NWA pool party, you know, the what was it, the Ruthless pool party or whatever it was? Yeah, that was infamous, but Luke was been doing that.
Well, he had a show. He had a show. Remember what was that called? That show with a Holly
the Peep Show, I think it was called.
Yeah, the Peep Show. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, he had a famous black porn star that was the host of it. You know, I forgot what her name is. I feel like it was Holly something. Holly Hunter. Right? Something.
Hunter. Heather Hunter.
Heather Hunter.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm terrible with names, but yes.
Right.
So, you know, but yeah, no, he did his thing. And again, not everybody was doing that, got caught up in it. But I mean, it was also the gangster dynamics, because they were getting in fights. You were constantly hearing about, you know, Cube's people getting into it with Eazy's people and stuff like that. So, I mean, they brought sort of like that, the hood to the record label, and was a predecessor of the dude who really did it in an even bigger way later.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Floyd X, I see you back there in the background, brother. Are you coming in here? All
I
right.
said he must be
Well,
working. I'm
whenever you're
thinking,
ready.
yeah, he's got control. He can bring himself in at any point. So that's why I just figured I'm gonna just let him.
I was waiting for an intro or waiting to drop in on the show.
Okay,
That
sorry about that.
deep
But yes,
Okay, yeah, all right.
that was deep in the conversation. Speaking about Ruthless Records, shout out to Ruthless Records, man.
And yeah, shout out to Easy Street out there in Compton. You know, he's
Easy.
just got his own little street out there. You
I
know.
still don't like the name. It should have been Easy E Street.
Hey, man, look. In that back, man. Give that man his props, man. You know,
Word.
easy street. Hey, he living on the easy street. So it's all good.
Man.
So what you think about that, man? I mean, like I said, Ruthless Records was the first label I heard with a name that was kind of provocative.
Did they fall? Did Ruthless Records fall?
Yes, they fell hard.
If somebody came out on Ruthless Records right now, would it be a shock or a surprise that the label is still?
It'd be a big shock because I ain't heard nothing from Ruthless since Bone.
Who is Bone signed to right now?
I don't know, bro, because one of them was just in the hospital fighting for his life.
Yeah.
Crazy Bone, I think it was.
I think they went to the parent company. I think it was either Atlantic. I know Crazy Bone was on Atlantic. So I don't know if the whole Bone went there. I don't know how that works, but
you know, it was distributed by
Ruthless
Priority. Was it Priority at first?
Yeah,
Priority. They probably did go to Atlantic because he had signed with somebody else, Sony or one of those other companies, though. But hey, maybe. But Ruthless is gone.
Yeah.
When Easy died, that was it.
What we're really talking about, it's not so much falling off as from a music standpoint as much as fallout from that particular lifestyle that you're trying to trade on, because you're associating with something and you're functioning a certain way that basically you're bringing repercussions and consequences back on you.
Okay.
Basically. All right.
I'm on the Bible of information right now.
He on Wikipedia.
It says that the last album from Ruthless Records was in 2008. The NWA Family Tree. Have y'all heard of that?
Yeah, but that's just like throwback songs, you know, just recycled songs and everything. It's like
I don't know if you can really, every greatest hits don't really count as like another album.
But I'm saying a business could simply be papers in a manila folder, right?
I'm talking about releasing new current music, you know, at the
We're
time.
talking about activity. We're talking about that basically they were on and popping when they were doing what they were doing, and now for all intents and purposes they're way in the background. And it's, you know, certain labels that are the old labels are still persisting. I don't know if Arista is still out there, or MCA or whatever. You know, the bottom line is a lot of these record labels that don't necessarily associate with something like Ruthless or Death or Murder are record labels that are spanning decades, and some of them may still actually exist. I mean, Motown was still doing stuff in the 2000s, you know, so I don't know if they're doing stuff now.
Still doing stuff, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so it's, you know,
Def Jam is still rolling. Atlantic is still rolling. MCA is still rolling. You know, all these old labels, you know, they still
see rolling. That's about the leadership and the management, right? I don't think it's about like the name, because the last studio album from Death Row was 2002, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Thug World Order. I don't even know if I ever heard that album before.
That's from who?
That Bone Thugs and Harmony called
what label?
You said Records. Death Row. You said Death Row. I was about to say, when they get on Death Row,
Ruthless Records.
Okay.
In 2002. That was the last release, according to the Bible of information. But
I'll accept that. I'll accept that. All right. So so from Ruthless came Death Row. And look at the name of it, Death Row. Look at it. Even look at the logo. You knew something bad was going to happen with this label right here.
You talking about Ruthless sort of like bringing gang life to the mainstream. You know, they were just doing it in music, but Death Row was like bringing it into like business and organization. You're talking about he had a red room. You know, he was surrounded by blood. They were constantly, you know, getting into physical altercations at the record company, had white people scared to death whenever, you know, he came around. So, you know, he brought in a whole type of different culture that was very counterproductive, that ultimately led in the death of Tupac, to him being incarcerated indefinitely. You know, it's one of those situations where, I mean, I've heard him say out his own mouth that he regrets that he didn't manage that better, and really just black people coming together and doing positive stuff.
And you know something? When you look at this logo, that look like Suge right there in that shit. That is him. Yeah. So what's in the name? Death Row. The label's not around anymore.
Well, Snoop Dogg is resurrected after.
Excuse me, I forgot. Yeah, it is back. Right, it's
but
back.
The bottom line is, it did go away. All of
right.
purpose, Camelot did come down.
So Snoop has it like in name. I don't think he has everything that Death Row had, because a lot of these artists got their masters back and stuff like that. The company's changed hands like 4 or 5 different times. Yeah. And Snoop has it right now. Supposedly Snoop and E1 or whoever else owns it, and probably Harry O or whatever. But either way, just looking at the name of Death Row, when I first heard Death Row, it was like, whoa, now this is really edgy right here. You know what I'm saying? It just kind of rubbed me like, that don't sound too cool. I mean, I thought Ruthless was bad. Now you're going to Death Row. It's like, oh damn, you know. To me, it was like, that's not the place to be. And then when you start hearing the stories about Suge and everything, everybody heard the Vanilla Ice story and all that old stuff. He was the boogeyman. He was the real boogeyman. And everything you just said about bringing the death of Tupac and all that, and all the other stuff coming along with it. And then the crazy thing is, Snoop is like the only artist that came from Death Row, besides Dre, of course, that actually is still relevant to this day.
I mean, he's doing big things. I mean, he's doing big things. He's on TV everywhere promoting stuff. He's somewhat of a national treasure. You know, that dude he's done great with his career. Salute to him. You know, and he's a guy that you really respect as an artist. So it's happy when one of those guys gets to blow up in the pop world like he has.
Yeah. Do y'all think Dog Pound is still relevant?
Who?
Is the Dog Pound still relevant?
Musically, you got to understand this stuff. All the stuff that's good music is relevant to us, but as far as to popular where the world is at, it's not in the forefront. It's not active like, you know, the youngsters that are doing what they're doing that are active now. So it's not a knock on. We're not trying to say that they're not relevant, because I know that De La Soul is relevant to me, you know. So that's just how that is. But as far as the masses, most people probably don't even know who the heck De La Soul is. It just kind of is what it is.
I'll say like this: Corrupt still can get in there with any MC and spar with him. Daz is still a hell of a producer and still putting out records. But as far as the Dog Pound together, nah.
So as far as labels dying, like how you say MCA is still relevant. What's the other one? The Atlantic,
Arista, MCA. So yeah,
Sony, Columbia.
What you think is the dividing factor? What separates the two sides?
They don't associate with. They're just sort of like a base thing. They're not associating with particularly negativity as far as Death Row, being ruthless, or Murder Inc. type situations. This is just basically a bland thing, sort of like Apple Records. You know, it's just it's not something that's tied to this greater hostile concept. So that's what I'm gathering out of all of this.
Do we have any label that's black owned, particularly, that is not tied to like
I was gonna say Def Jam, but I don't know if Rick Rubin is the sole owner or part owner. I don't know how that works.
I think they sold it off. They sold it off. They sold it.
But to me, Def Jam would have been an example of a name and a company that's still going on strong, that from whatever and you know, they've associated with positive things.
Yeah, I'll give you some. Rap a Lot. Cash Money. They still relevant. Mr. Floyd Exton stepped away.
Good point. No, good point. I heard that. Rap a Lot, Cash Money. I agree with you. Cash Money been around for a long time.
Yeah, Rap a Lot been around longer.
Yep, and they still, I guess you could say, associated with the streets, and And both, because I don't know how Drake's record deal goes, but it looked like he's with both of them, right? How does that work?
I don't know exactly the particulars of it, but yeah, something like that too. But see,
Yeah.
the thing is, it's called Rap a Lot Records. It's not called Shoot 'em Up Records. You know what I'm saying? That might make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, see, because Rap a Lot is tied to the streets. Yeah, everybody know that. Everybody know Lil J ain't to be played with.
Yeah.
Prince. J Prince, whatever you want to call him. Lil J Prince, Mr. Prince. I call him because I respect the man. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Prince, you understand me? I respect you. Don't come after me, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I think you're still relevant. And I think it was smart for you to name your thing Rap a Lot Records instead of, Houston Shoot 'em Up Records or whatever.
That's my point. You may have this. It's always been gangsters behind the scene. We always knew that there was always gangsters with Columbia, MCA, and Arista, and Sugar Hill and stuff like that. But the bottom line is that wasn't what they were selling. That was just what was going on in the background.
Yeah, and even though they had the Ghetto Boys, which was straight street, you know what I'm saying? It was the Southern version of NWA. They was talking that same old stuff, but it was just something about the name of the label that to me made a big difference. Because you can just when you was with Ruthless, more than likely you was tied to the streets. It seemed like when you was with Death Row, you was tied to the streets. When you're with these other labels, we might get to, you might have been tied to some other stuff too, but it is what it is. In fact, let's move it along a little bit.
Yeah, Delicious Vinyl had a different set of artists, so you're absolutely right.
Tommy Boy, even all these labels, all these other labels, just they didn't have that street name to it, and when you had that street name, a lot of times they went down. It's probably a whole lot of other record labels out there that had some crazy street names. I know there's a lot of them out there right now. In fact, let's get to the next one first. I'm gonna go here first. Let's go to Murder Inc. Just look at the name, Murder Inc. Records. Where's Murder Inc. Records now? It's gone. It's dissolved.
Yeah,
got caught up. In fact, Murder Inc., Death Row, and Rap a Lot was gonna get together and make a whole black distribution, company. The only two that went down was Murder Inc. and Death Row. Rap a Lot's still around. Something in the name? You tell me.
But see, I think you could also argue that it's about the leadership because the way that Jay Prince tell a story, he was on the phone with all of them, and when he heard how Suge Knight was speaking, he said he was hung up. He said, I ain't dealing with this dude. He said he hung up the phone. He saw what I don't know the particulars, but he saw what Suge Knight was on, and he knew that he couldn't do business with that dude.
But that kind of plays into the whole fact that they're really going, they're selling into this or buying into this whole Death Row thing. So everything about them was super gangstered out, which on its face is obviously not a way to conduct legal business. Not something that's going to be sustainable.
But see, the way you said it, it's about the marketing. It was good marketing for the streets.
It was good, but it was niche marketing. It was something. It was not sustainable. So yes, it was hot. It was a flash in the pan. But the bottom line is
everybody wanted a piece of it.
Yeah, once you want to be, if you stick up, you have a bunch of lines. You toss some meat in there. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. But I mean, if you have some type of discipline, something that just doesn't have to, something that's just business. It's the difference between business and doing all this extra stuff. Because I mean, they were like. They literally all peed in a cup and then made this dude drink it because, he wouldn't give up where Puffy's parents were. I mean, they were
allegedly.
But I mean, they were on some super gangster stuff that was, and they were out in the open with it. Like I said, there was always this stuff in the background, just like the 5 Heartbeats. I mean, that's fictional, but we know it's based on real type stuff. So you always know that there was Big Red in the background and stuff like that. But that Big Red was smart enough to not put that out there in business wise. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying you got to know how to compartmentalize that.
So you saying like when they put it out front, that contributed to their downfall?
It contributed to their downfall because they weren't able to just keep the music that way as opposed to doing the business that way. You know, if you're gonna exploit, if for lack of a better word, if you're gonna exploit negosity, you got to know how to just shine a light on it instead of getting sucked into its gravitational pull.
Yeah.
A lot of times people start believing their own hype too. You know, in other words, Death Row was Death Row Records, and it was hardcore. And the bigger they got, the more powerful they got, the more reckless they started acting. Same thing with Murder Inc. We all know that. What was that? Irv Gotti? He ain't no gangster, but when he got that money, he started acting like a gangster.
Well, he was connected with a real gangster.
He was connected.
That was
not
the
connected?
whole
Who's
thing.
not
So his silent partner was a real gangster.
You come from Memphis, so you got some gangsters in your family somewhere, don't you? All right, everybody got some gangsters somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's connected.
Yeah.
But
I'm just saying it wasn't just connected. I'm saying that he was actually the person that was part of the business. You know, when you talk about Supreme and all that stuff, I mean, that was where that big sort of like beef with 50 Cent and all that came through, because he was really had a hand in that label and in that business.
Here we go again.
He was
Allegedly.
You know.
Yeah, I think it's just I think the lines get too blurred and the leadership doesn't know how to completely separate or keep that side on that side. And I think that's how the problem ends up. Because I think, truthfully, I know we ain't moved on to it, but P. Diddy did a good job at it, keeping his afloat for long, at least past death rows. You know what I'm saying?
Here we go. So we got to talk about Bad Boy then. All right. Good. That's the next one that was on the list. Yeah. I was keep saving him for last specifically because of the shit that he's going through right now. He's about to lose everything. And he did have a long run.
Yep.
But look at the name though. Look at the name, Bad Boy. And look what he's accused of, doing bad boy stuff. Not even bad boy.
And at least musically, they were still presenting out a lot of pop stuff that, you know what I'm saying? When you look at their stable of music, they had a lot of artists that weren't just all gangster and all this rah rah rah. He was basically appealing to the pop nature of just regular civilians. So I mean, it was kind of a different situation.
Yeah, but his first artist that blew up on Bad Boy was really big. I mean, well, Craig Mack, with his offbeat style, I don't know what the hell he was talking about, but with Flavor in Your Ear, I don't know what the hell he was talking about. It was a hell of a beat. It was a hell of a song. But Big was gangster.
Yep. And wasn't the Locks on Bad Boy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they lyrical.
They were gangster.
They lyrical, but they
they lyrical. But I'm just saying they were still gangster.
Did y'all know that Janelle Monáe's on Bad Boy?
No.
I had no idea.
I did not know that.
Whoa, spin that one back. Whoa, I had no idea.
She just her last album was released on Bad Boy 2023. Whoa. I did not know she was signed to Bad Boy.
I'm not allowed to.
She might be on that Surviving Diddy. Who knows?
What'd you say, nice guy?
I say, my wife does not allow me to speak about Janelle Monáe.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
Sound like somebody got a crush.
I'm not saying I do or do not. I will neither confirm nor deny that I should never, ever be alone with her.
I used to really like Janelle Monáe until she came out and started showing her body, because she was a conservative. That was the role she played. She wasn't no booty shaking. She just pure singing. That was her gift. And I used to love her, like, oh, she cool. And then she started showing it, and now she come out as a lesbian. And
no, she is. I don't know if she's a lesbian. She is non-binary. It's a difference.
Same thing. Same thing to me. Same thing. If you sleep with women, you're a lesbian.
What if you sleep with women and men?
You're a lesbian that sleeps with men also. She's a lesbian.
That might be the Bad Boy effect, though. That's what I'm trying to tell you. She might have been exposed to something.
Yeah, I know. She went nuts on Twitter, and she said titties out for the next 20 years or something like that. Might be a Bad Boy thing. So who knows?
That's crazy. Yeah.
So Bad Boy has a alleged bad reputation right about now, and it's getting worse and worse for Diddy. And Diddy did have a long run, but you know what? These allegations are not new. They've been known. A whole lot of this stuff has been out there floating around for a long time. Shout out to Gene Deal, his ex-bodyguard, Let me go ahead and give him a shout out and that back. He's been talking about Diddy and all this stuff that's been coming out for a few years. Have y'all been following that?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. He's been saying a lot. I mean, and Jaguar Wright or whatever homegirl's name is. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people that have been speaking about this type of stuff. And
but I mean, for years it's been the allegation of his sexuality, right? I think this is the first year that they speaking about the physical abuse.
No, not Gene Deal been talking about that, bro.
Physically abusing people?
Yes.
I haven't heard that.
Jaguar Wright been talking about it.
Who did they accuse him of abusing?
Kim Porter.
Oh, okay.
Misa.
Who's Misa?
You know the bad, Big Papa video where you got Puffy in the hot tub with that girl with the blonde hair.
Yep,
that's his baby mama. That's Justin's mama.
Wow.
Actually, Justin looked like Wolf. I ain't see that.
You ain't one to gossip, so you ain't heard it from you.
But Justin looked like his homeboy Wolf.
And that's the one that got killed, right?
Yeah, that's him. Take a look at him and then look at Justin.
That's crazy.
That's probably why she got beat up. Oh, hold on.
We don't do gossiping, but we report that that these allegations have been made. So, you know.
But Bad Boy has stayed relevant up until this year. Because I mean, they got Machine Gun Kelly, French Montana, and Janelle Monáe. Pretty much, they've been the ones holding it down. And he released that. What was that? The Last Train or something album he did?
The Love album, the Glove album, whatever it's called.
Yeah. So I mean, they've still been relevant as far as releasing music and stuff.
And he was trying to give all his artists their publishing back because he knew what was coming down the pipeline.
Ouch. There's speculation about that, but So and in fact, the matter, he is persona non grata. He's dealing with some things right now. He's been disassociated with a lot of those things that he'd been promoting and with. So, Bad Boy, if he's associated with it, he's going to be a problem. So he's either going to have to detach himself from it, or it's messy.
Well, see, here's the thing: is there something in the name, Bad Boy?
Yeah, you're associated with him. Yeah, that's in that too. Yeah.
See, you shouldn't have named it Bad Boy. You should have named it Puffy. Something,
Should have dated nice guy.
And the crazy thing about all these labels, these 4 labels we just named, from Ruthless to Death Row, Bad Boy, Murder Inc., they all sold millions and millions of records. So you might say Puffy and them Bad Boy was kind of like on that pop tip, but they sold as many records from NWA, and all that other stuff too. Murder Inc. I mean, look, Ja Rule sold a whole gang of records.
Man, that's for real.
I mean, I don't see it on here, but I mean, as far as the name goes, you got Rockefeller. Was that a negative, or what was their downfall based on the name, or what?
No, I don't think that was a name induced. That was more like just a separation of those two big names that just went elsewhere. Dame and Jay-Z, they outgrew each other and they went their way. So, a lot of these businesses will go the way that they go, but we're talking about basically businesses that trade on negativity and then sort of like maybe indulge in negativity. That's really what I would say the correlation is.
When I first heard Rockefeller, I thought about, Rockefeller, the businessman.
Yeah.
But according to Nas, it was named after somebody in the streets, and he died of AIDS. That was the end of his chapter, and that's the guy you choosing to name your company after.
Ouch. He's talking about Rockefeller. I forgot what his name is. That was the old time actor, the white actor. I forgot what his name is. But
Rock Hudson.
Still, but again, that was just a play on words. We know that that's not what it was about. It was just they just like the ROC, the Rockefeller. It's they probably were playing on the rich, the Illuminati, whatever. But I
didn't know that's what Nas was talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was somebody in the streets. I thought it was somebody in the streets that died of AIDS. Oh, okay. You taught me something. Hey.
Just like Kid from in House Party. He said, "Y'all want to rock like Hudson," when he was in prison. So it's just like, But that was just a play on words. I mean, it's just like the Joe Camel type of stuff. But Yeah, I mean, it's you just got to know how to do business. It's just like, but that was one thing I liked about Busta Rhymes and Little Kim. They really understood that. Look, this is that persona. This is business. I'm gonna go all out when I do that, but then there's me. So these are two. This is a hat I put on, and I go wild. And that's why Busta just gave you just like ridiculousness, because that was a dude that was fully committed to his craft in his fame and his whatever that business persona, that whatever, the star, and he was that. He is that. He's still that's a person who's still releasing stuff and doing, dope stuff. So, shout out to that brother.
Well, just a side note, I had saw a picture of Tammy Terrell yesterday up on the internet, and it occurred to me that Lil' Kim used to look like Tammy Terrell when she was young, before she did whatever she did to herself.
Mm-hmm.
She was cute. She was really cute. That's beside it. Let me get back. Spin that back, bro. I'm just saying, Lil' Kim, shout out to you, but
it was a
you
shame.
You ain't the same. You ain't the same.
It was a shame that you felt the need to do what you do. You were perfect just as you were, but notwithstanding what you've done to yourself, inside you're still Little Kim. You're still that beautiful black woman, and we're gonna support you and hold you up, even though we wish that you wouldn't have done what you did.
Yeah, you should have just went to Mary J's doctor, because she still looks.
Ouch! Come on, man. Don't go to no doctor. But hey, full disclosure, I'm sorry I didn't tell you in advance. I probably have to be checking out early because my wife has been flying in from Seattle, and I'm gonna have to be picking her up soon. So she sent me the text that she landed. So I'm gonna hang around a little bit longer. But now this is gonna be evidence that my ass wasn't be doing work to get there as soon as possible. Hopefully she don't dial into YouTube, because then I'm gonna start getting some death threats. So, but yeah.
Okay. But let me ask y'all this: as far as death row, do you think that, let's say, a relevant artist for today signed to death row, do you think that there can be like a rebirth, or with Snoop Dogg having the new death row, whatever, that he could sign a relevant artist and the name would be just as popular?
Well, he got one called Snoopy Badass, and he ain't doing shit. Oh, my bad. I don't know if he doing shit, but I ain't really heard nothing from him.
Look, this is the fact of the matter. No matter what your label name is, if you got that artist that really soars, that really touches people, that really pushes, you will basically blow up whatever it is that you associate with. So it's basically a function of, if you can find that Snoop Dogg, or that whatever, the next generation's version of that, or whatever, you can find the new Migos, or whatever it is that really takes off, you will basically make that label a household name, whatever it's called.
I think if Snoop have access to it, what he should do is just go ahead and release some of that old Death Row stuff, or some unreleased music and stuff like that. That's what he should do, because the name is already worn out. I don't think that.
What though? What's old that you want to hear?
Some of that unreleased stuff that's probably in the vaults that Daz didn't steal.
That may not be mainstream consumable, but there's always going to be a market for people. Like, let's say, there's a lot of artists that I grew up listening to that I love and respect, and not everything that they did made it out into the world. It's like we know that Tupac died, and he still had about 3-4 albums that hit after that. And the fact of the matter is, we know that everybody records a lot of stuff, and it don't always make it to you. Some of that stuff might be good and special, and a person like me would love to hear it, but that's not going to be a good business model. It's just not going to have the market to really, you really want to tap into, what's really popping, what's really out there, what's fresh and new. That's probably, if you're doing a business, that's what you're doing. But if you did want to sell that, there's going to be an audience for people that appreciate good music whenever it was created.
You know what's fresh and new now? Andre 3000.
Ouch.
Oh, man.
He's outselling the major artists, rap artists nowadays, with this instrumental flute album.
I'm glad that he's reaping those rewards. He's a positive dude. Shout out to him. That's not my lane. I listen to it. That's nothing that I would ever voluntarily, seek out. That's just not it. And the one thing that really did piss me off about what he said, and shout out to Lil Wayne, because I'm gonna have to do a Lil Wayne shout out, because I read this in the article. He said the same thing. It hurt his soul to hear him say that as an old man, he ain't got nothing. As an older man, as an adult, he has nothing else to say, and that's why he can't rap. And I'm just thinking, like, wow, everything that you had to say is something that you said as a kid. That to me, that's just disgraceful. Old people should still have something to say. If your heart's not in it, your heart's not in it. But don't tell me you don't have nothing to say. That's just sad.
Well, Red and Meth been around longer than him, and they still dropping.
Still dropping. I mean, I still Redman. Every time I hear stuff, whatever, it still sounds amazing. It's just, like I said, there's a lot of people out there from our era still got it, can still do great dope things. And if it's dope, it's dope. If it's not, it's not. But I'm down to hear it.
E40.
Yeah, got a lot to say.
E40 got a lot to say. That new album he got is banging. He got like at least 3 or 4 songs on there that I really like, and like, wow, he still got it.
You know what I like about E40? He got his own style too.
Yeah. I like E40. A lot of East Coast people really don't get him. They look at him kind of like, a lot of us look at what's that dude from No Limit that everybody talks terrible about?
Well, Shaka.
Not Shaka. Yeah, Silk the Shaka. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just saying, there's a lot of East Coast people. I know that Vic, who we've had on the Focus Up show, he probably sees him just like Silk the Shaka. But to me, I see the difference. I mean, to me, E40 is dope. He's authentic and he's dope. So it's two things, but yeah.
Yep. I like originality. Silk the Shaka was one of my favorite on No Limit.
Oh no, he was garbage. But I
bought all 3 of his first 3 albums. I bought them all. And I used to listen like, man.
Wait. You say this and you telling me you don't like Tougher Than Leather. Let me fix the screen, man. I just want to hear what he got to say.
That's funny.
Even Run DMC didn't like Tougher Than Leather.
I got.
Even Run, DMC said that was even like a uninspired album.
You talking about that new interview, Drink Champs?
I don't know if it was on Drink Champs or not. I heard
he was talking about Tougher Than Leather or the album that they did after that. Because they did like maybe 2 albums after that, and one of them's like really, really bad. I never even really listened to them. The last album that I really rocked with Run DMC was Tougher Than Leather, and Tougher Than Leather to this day is still dope to me.
I like the album. Did I say it was bad?
I thought you said it was bad. I thought you said it was dated.
No.
Oh, my bad. I'm gonna check the tape, man. I could have sworn that you said different. That's why I was like,
Run's House shit.
No, man, matter of fact, it was on Spin That Back, but I'm gonna come back to it. But I should probably, if I want to wake up in the morning, I should probably be heading out. So I'll still listen. But thank you, folks. Keep it going.
Yes,
Peace.
All right, bro. All right, so Mr. Nice Guy is out of here, so he's gone. All right. So still in all. So
yes. Go ahead.
We got new labels out here nowadays, like Griselda, whatever. I think that's label.
Is that a label or a group?
I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear it, but I don't know what that is. I know Benny the Butcher and Conway the Machine, but I thought that was a group. I don't know, a record label.
I don't know if it's a crew or a label or what, but they doing their thing. And you got Young Money.
Yep.
Still doing their thing. And you got some other little labels out here too. And then you got the major labels still out there. You still got the Def Jams and the Sonys and whoever else people sign with. But it seems like if you name your son,
it is a label. Griselda is a label.
It is a label, okay. It's a new label out here by one of these rappers, one of these West Coast rappers, I think, called Killer Music or something like that. Killer Records or something.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah, it was somebody. I forgot who it is. It's like, bruh, haven't you learned? You can't be naming your stuff stupid shit like that, man. You're gonna bring too much heat on yourself, number one. And then it's like, it's something in the name. Like if I was to have a record label, start a record label right now, I'll just name it something simple. You know,
Yeah.
Hip Hop Forever Records, something like that. You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't put no street moniker on it. If I was from no hood, I wouldn't put my hood name on it. Nothing like that, man. That's just not wise.
I think it limits you and it boxes you in. Just like when Rick Ross started blowing up,
Mm-hmm.
he was about to come with a compilation. I was looking forward to it, but it was the Carroll City Cartel, CCC.
Mm.
Then I'm assuming that somebody got in his ear and told him, man, you don't want to go that route. Because it just went away. I was like, where's it at? Because I mean, it was like, but it was just limited to Miami. So he scrapped that project, as far as I know. And I thought it would be something.
You know, Raekwon the Chef, when he released that only Built for Cuban Links album, he was going to try to name it Wu Gambinos.
Yeah.
The real Gambinos got at their
producer. I know you're talking about the white
label
dude.
owner. Yeah, the label owner.
Yeah.
Guy's name right now. And said, nah, they can't do that. No. And they actually listened. And I'm glad they did listen. They named one of the songs Wu Gambinos, but they didn't name the album Wu Gambinos. They would have had problems.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But hey, what kind of problems you think they would have had?
Well, if the mafia tell you don't do something, you better listen, you know.
You think they would have killed some black kids from?
I don't know what they would have did. I just said they just said don't do it, and they listen.
Sometimes you got to push the envelope.
Yeah. You gotta watch what envelopes you push, though. You know what I'm saying? Some envelopes ain't meant to be pushed.
You gotta be like, F it, let's go for it.
Okie doke. That's what would have happened to you. They would have spit you back, probably. You know what I'm saying? But they wasn't taking no chances.
Nah.
But I think that was a good thing, though.
Yeah.
And they was on Loud, I think, right? Yeah, they was on Loud. Well, I don't know if those two was on Loud, but I know they started off with Loud. You know, it probably was Loud they was on. I don't know. Don't give me the line. Or check your Wikipedia, the Bible.
About to go to it right now. What's the name of that?
Some good advice.
Steve Rifkin.
Yeah, Rifkin. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve Rifkin. Yeah, Loud Records.
Yeah,
that was are they still relevant? Loud Records.
You can check your Wikipedia. I know you own them. What's the last release on Loud Records? I think they kind of went under though. I think they sold out to somebody.
Look at this. They had Alcoholics, the Beat Nuts, Delinquent Habits, Funk Flex, MOP, Remy P. Rock. So damn, they had a list, dude.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's one of those labels, bro. It's like I said, but it was called, what was it called again?
What?
The name of Loud Records. You see? Loud Records.
Steve Rifkin and Rich Isaacson. The founded by Steve Rifkin and Rich Isaacson.
And you don't see other races. Well, I ain't gonna say everybody. It doesn't go for everybody. It doesn't go for all white people either. But these white boys don't be naming their labels something stupid like that for the most part. It's always
when you say, you can't say stupid.
I ain't gonna say stupid, but provocative. I'll say
okay.
Not even provocative or just edgy. You know those. You know those like.
Because Bad Boy Records, that's not a bad name.
It's not really. Well, Diddy gave it a bad name.
Okay.
Because he was the bad boy. You know what I'm saying? Because he did some bad boy things. You know, some things a boy shouldn't be doing.
No, Master P had No Limit Records. That was a positive name.
Great name. I think Cash Money wasn't a bad name either because you're trying to make some money. So that's a good thing.
And then what about the what's the name of that? QC Quality Control? Is that the name of the label?
I'm not sure.
The Migos is on. Is that Quality Control?
I think that is a label. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quality Control. See, makes sense.
Now let's say I know people was criticizing them because they sold it to a Japanese company for like $300 million. Now,
what were they mad about? What were they mad about? Because it was sold to some Japanese people?
They said, oh, he's selling out like Bob Robert from BT dude. They said, oh, they selling out. But I'm like, Imagine if Suge Knight would have sold Death Row when it was peaking. Let's say maybe right before or right after Tupac passed. Let's say he did. He sold it for because $300 million in that day probably would have been a hell of a lot of money too. You know what I'm saying? And do you think when it's a this is my perspective. I think that corporations last longer than moms and pops. Moms and pops are better businesses because it's owned by few, but corporations, it's a greater interest and they know how to move more corporately to where they're not going to just fall and fold because they know how to make those business decisions and it's a collective as opposed to one person who could sink the whole ship.
Good point. Good point.
So with 300 selling it, and I don't know what is. I think it's P and Coach. I don't know what their roles are today, but I know that they probably got some interest. They probably got some leadership roles, but they're not the final decision makers to where they can make a critical decision. That whole thing fall because it's too many interests involved. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm gonna tell you like this.
Yeah.
If a man from Mars came with $50 million and offered to buy my business, I'm selling it to him right now.
Like that.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care who it is. You know what I'm saying? You come with that money, I'm selling it. I mean, it is what it is. And then the Migos sold at a good time too, because when did they just do this? Was this recent?
I think it was last year. Last year they sold it for $300 million.
Was it? Did the Migos actually have an interest in quality control?
I don't think so. I think that was just signed.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, why not take that money? They already made a heap of money, and then they got that big old chunk of money.
Yeah.
Def Jam did the same thing.
Yeah.
Go to Ireland.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you do. You get your money. If somebody wants to buy you out, the price is right, sell.
Yeah. So they don't say when they sold, but they sold in 2016. Kevin Lee established Quality Control Sports. Oh, they got a sports management now.
So they went like a good 6-7 year run or something like. Or you sold in 16, or they didn't say when you sold. Okay, but either way, they had a few years, made their millions, and sold for 9 figures.
Yeah,
come on now. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Yeah. Anybody should do that. I advise anybody to do that. If somebody wants to give you 9 figures for something, go ahead and take that money. Take it now, because the longer you wait, the less valuable it may become.
So they sold it to a South Korean company. That's who they sold it to.
I would have sold it to a North Korean company. I'm gonna tell you.
It's like that,
man. I'm telling you, man, that money talk, bro, all day long.
Shout out to Third in the building.
Yes, sir. What's going on, Third? Hey, Motown sold out too.
Who did they sell to?
Yeah, Berry Gordy sold Motown to I forgot what label, but he sold out to Sony or one of those, Columbia, one of those companies. But they said it was probably Mob. Allegedly, the Mob got at him and made him sell. Hey, the right people come at you and say you gotta do this, you might have to do it, because if you don't do it when they say you do it, bad things can happen.
Yeah. And I mean, now he ran that and held it down for a long ass time. It seemed like,
yeah, for about 30 years.
90s. Yeah. So I mean, he got his money out of it.
Yeah, he did.
Sell it.
Then he still, sold it for a big chunk of change, so that's what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do when you can. You strike while the iron's hot. If you don't, you might miss that boat.
That's right.
I mean, because Motown's still releasing music and stuff. I don't know who you know what? Mariah still might be. No, I think she's with Def Jam. Oh, she was.
Man.
But cool. look at Jay-Z. Yeah. Jay-Z got what he got, Rock Nation. Whatever it is. He worked a Billy.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go.
I'm about to blow your mind. Young Boy Never Broke Again is signed to Motown Records.
See,
The current roster is Erykah Badu in 2000, Neo 2012. Am I reading this right?
Yeah,
It says Motown.
Yeah.
These dudes are signed to Motown.
Mm-hmm.
Brandy, Diddy, Lakia. I don't know who Dobie is. Vince Staples. He out of Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, they signed to Motown? Little Baby. Wait a minute. Oh, joint with Motown UK. Joint with Quality Control and Capitol Music. And at Motown 2018. That's crazy.
So obviously Motown sold to Capitol. Yeah.
Universal.
Universal. Okay.
Wait, you right? Capitol Music Group.
Yeah.
Which includes
Universal.
Island Def Jam, Universal,
MCA.
Motown. Yep, they all under the wow, that's crazy.
Because it's only like 3 real record labels. 3 real conglomerate record labels. It's like Sony, MCA, and
Atlantic.
MCA is Atlantic, I think.
MCA Atlantic, and then Universal. Universal wasn't it Island? Universal Island or something?
Yeah, well, something like that, bro. Yeah, it's something like that. I think MCA is part of Universal too, actually.
So the bottom line is business is business.
Yeah.
They all standing on business.
They standing on business.
Yeah. So they make their money, and when they see it's time to jump out, they sell it to another company that might be able to invigorate new life or put new life into it, and they just keep it moving. If you could make $300 million, I know Suge Knight wish he could have sold Death Row for $300 million and avoided all of the BS that he was going through now or whatever, because nothing lasts forever.
Well, his downfall was he went to the hood, got his homeboys, and that kind of was, Suge wasn't a gangster. He was a good kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was a good bully, big old strong dude and everything. But when he got around those gangsters, he became a gangster.
See, I mean, to me, it's all about the management. If he could have managed that right, he would have been okay. He just did a bad. When you start trying to play the gangster and getting into fights and coming on screen being knocked out by some barber, and you start looking bad and you bring in a bad reputation, I think did he survive because he was doing good management. He just started towards this stuff that come out. He couldn't manage his relationships right. And that spilled over into the business.
Diddy probably got big-headed because he got that B behind his name.
Billion.
Yeah, billionaire.
But all this stuff happened before that.
Yeah, but he probably pissed off somebody up there. Somebody he had to piss off somebody up in the industry somewhere. And this is when all this bad stuff started happening to him because he was a bad boy. Just like I said. Man, you tried to be a bad boy, yeah. He's gonna come get you. Remember, the powers that be will come get your butt. Anyway, let's go ahead and shut this one down today. Check it out. So it's been fun having y'all here. Hey, check it out. If y'all ain't here, push that like, subscribe, share button. We appreciate that. That's the only thing we charge you for this. We bring y'all good content. Next week we're gonna have another good show for you. We want y'all to tune back in every Saturday, 10:30 Pacific Standard Time, right after the Focus Up show, which is 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Check us out. Stay focused. Get us out of here, bro.